Most men think a woman chases them because they do more. The truth is, she chases you because you become harder to replace. You know this, even if you've never said it out loud. You text first. You plan the dates. You keep the conversation going. You show effort. You prove you're different from other guys. And what happens? At first, she's engaged, then slowly she pulls back. She replies later, with less emotion. You feel her slipping, so you push harder, and she runs faster. My friend, this isn't because you're not good enough. It's because you're playing the game backwards. Women don't chase effort. Women chase value. They don't chase the man who is always available. They chase the man whose presence is rare, steady, and hard to access. The man who feels grounded, controlled, and quietly powerful. The man who doesn't need to be chosen because he has already chosen himself. Tonight, we're going into the dark psychology and Stoic mindset behind making a woman chase you naturally, without begging, without games, and without losing your self-respect. I'll show you how scarcity, presence, boundaries, and purpose work together so she feels pulled towards you long-term, not just in the honeymoon phase. If you're tired of chasing and ready to become the man she chases, stay right here with me and listen. Let's get into it. Number 1. Scarcity that triggers her desire. Folks, let's be honest for a second. Most men kill attraction because they make themselves way too available. They think effort equals desire. They think constant texting equals interest. They think showing up at every hour makes her feel chosen. But my friend, that is exactly what makes her stop chasing you. Women don't desire what is always there. They desire what feels rare, valuable, and not easily replaced. Let me show you this with something real. Meet Mark, 51, from Texas. He started seeing a woman named Nicole, 48, a smart, confident woman who had been hit on her whole life. In the beginning, Mark texted her every morning, checked in during lunch, and responded instantly every time she reached out. He thought he was being caring, but to Nicole, it felt predictable. Safe in the wrong way. She told a friend, "He's a good man, but I don't feel anything pulling me." Why? Because nothing about Mark felt scarce. Nothing made her lean forward. Nothing made her wonder. Now compare that to a different situation. David, 56, from Ohio, started talking to a woman named Evelyn, 52. Unlike Mark, he didn't flood her with attention. He didn't chase her energy. He matched her effort. If she reached out, he responded warmly. If she didn't, he kept living his life. He trained, he worked, he spent time with family. He didn't disappear to play games. He simply didn't revolve his world around her. And guess what? It drove Evelyn crazy, in the best way. She found herself checking her phone, replaying their conversations, wondering what he was doing, because in her mind, he wasn't guaranteed. He wasn't hers, and that sense of uncertainty activated desire. This is the psychology behind scarcity, my friend. Humans value what feels limited. Women especially respond to a man who isn't constantly offering himself. Not because they want to struggle, but because desire needs contrast. Comfort without challenge kills feminine attraction. Scarcity does not mean ignoring her, punishing her, or withdrawing affection to manipulate her. That's childish. Scarcity simply means you value your time, your presence, and your emotional energy enough to protect it. Women feel that instantly. Here's what scarcity looks like in real life. You answer, but you don't jump. You're present, but not needy. You show interest, but not obsession. You're available, but not at her command. You give attention, but not your entire schedule. Scarcity also forces a woman to evaluate you differently. When you're not always there, she begins to think about you more. When you don't respond instantly, she wonders what you're doing. When you have a life outside of her, she wants to be part of it. That mental pull is what makes her chase. Women don't chase a man who pours himself out. They chase a man who chooses carefully. If you constantly prove your value, she stops believing it. When you naturally live in a way that shows your value, she starts earning it. That shift, from you chasing her attention to her chasing your presence, is the foundation of long-term desire, especially for a mature woman who sees through games but responds deeply to real masculine restraint. Now, if you've ever noticed a woman wanting you more when you stopped overgiving, comment, "I've seen this." Stay with me, because next we're talking about the kind of presence she feels in her body before she ever admits it. You don't want to miss this. Number 2, the presence she feels in her body. My friend, let's get something straight. Women don't chase words, they chase presence. Not the loud, attention-seeking kind. Not the kind where you talk non-stop to impress her. I'm talking about the grounded, steady, masculine presence she feels in her body the moment you walk into a room. The kind that makes her posture change, her breathing shift, and her attention lock onto you without you even trying. Most men think presence is about confidence or charisma. It isn't. Presence is about self-command. It's the energy of a man who is fully inside himself instead of scattered, needy, or reactive. A man whose mind is quiet, whose emotions are steady, and whose attention is controlled. That kind of presence hits a woman deeper than compliments, gifts, or effort ever will. This is exactly what the Stoics talked about. Marcus Aurelius said, "The soul becomes dyed with the color of its thoughts." In other words, who you are internally bleeds into the space around you. If your mind is chaotic, your presence becomes chaotic. If your thoughts are needy or anxious, she feels that tension. But if your mind is calm, intentional, and centered, she responds with softness. She feels drawn in before she understands why. Presence starts with your pace. Men who lack presence rush everything: speech, movement, decisions, responses. They chase moments instead of living in them. But a man with presence moves slowly and intentionally. He pauses, he observes, he listens. He doesn't fill silence, he uses it. And silence, when held with confidence, is one of the most seductive forces on earth. Presence also shows in your emotional temperature. Women are extremely sensitive to a man's internal stability. If you react too fast, get irritated easily, or let tension overwhelm you, she feels unsafe. But when you remain steady, when your tone stays calm, when your body remains relaxed even in uncomfortable moments, she feels something shift inside her. She feels grounded through you. And grounding is one of the strongest forms of attraction. Then there is your attention. A man with weak presence gives attention everywhere. He scans the room, he checks his phone, he fidgets. His energy leaks in 1,000 directions. But a man with strong presence gives his attention deliberately. When he looks at her, he actually sees her. When he listens, he is fully there, not waiting for his turn to talk. When he stands near her, she feels the weight of his awareness even if he says nothing. That kind of masculine focus hits her physically, not just mentally. Presence is also shaped by self-mastery. A man who cannot manage his impulses has no presence. A man who cannot manage his emotions has no presence. A man who constantly performs for approval has no presence. Presence is born from restraint, emotional restraint, verbal restraint, energetic restraint. Women are not aroused by men who give everything away. They are aroused by men who know how to hold something back. And here's the deeper truth. A woman does not fall for a man because he enters her life. She falls for him because he changes the way she feels in her own body. Your presence is what does that. If you've ever watched a woman soften just because you stayed calm and grounded, comment, "I felt this." Stay with me, because next we're talking about boundaries, the hidden force that makes her chase your approval instead of you chasing hers. You don't want to miss this. Number 3, boundaries that make her chase. My friend, let's get something straight. Women don't chase men who make themselves endlessly available. They don't chase men who bend at every request, swallow every disrespect, or reshape themselves to avoid conflict. Women chase the man whose boundaries signal strength, value, and a life that doesn't revolve around winning her approval. Boundaries are not walls. They're signals, and a woman reads them instantly, not with her mind first, but with her body. Let me show you how this plays out in real life. Tom, 54, from Michigan, started seeing a woman named Denise, 52. Denise was used to men canceling plans, staying up late and rearranging their schedules just because she asked. One Friday night, she invited Tom over at 10 p.m. Instead of rushing out the door like every man before him, he told her calmly, "Not tonight. I have an early morning tomorrow. Let's plan something for Sunday." There was no anger, no attitude, no game, just a boundary. And that boundary hit her harder than any compliment. She later told him, "You didn't break your plans for me. That made me want you more." She didn't fall for the rejection. She fell for the strength behind it. Now compare that to another scenario. Eric, 57, from Illinois, met a woman named Tanya, 50. From day one, Tanya could feel he had no boundaries. She'd cancel last minute and he'd act grateful she still wanted to see him. She'd take hours to respond, and he'd reply in seconds. She'd push emotional buttons, and he'd pretend nothing bothered him. Eric thought he was being patient, flexible, and supportive. But what Tanya saw was a man who didn't value himself enough to protect his time, emotions, or energy. Attraction can't survive that. Within weeks, she pulled back. Not because Eric wasn't good enough, but because he wasn't grounded enough. A woman can only desire a man she respects, and a woman only respects a man who holds boundaries. Boundaries change the way she experiences you. When you're not available at every moment, she starts to wonder where you are. When you don't tolerate poor treatment, she adjusts her behavior. When you don't rush to fix every mood or rescue every emotional outburst, she begins to see you as someone with a backbone. And that backbone creates the tension her feminine side responds to. Boundaries also shift the power dynamic in a way most men never realize. A woman senses instantly when a man fears losing her. And the moment she senses that fear, the chase dies. But when you show that your life stays full, your mission stays intact, and your standards stay high regardless of how she behaves, something inside her wakes up. She feels the difference between a man who would do anything to keep her and a man who chooses her but doesn't need her. That difference is exactly where desire is born. Women aren't drawn to men who obey. They're drawn to men who guide themselves. Men who don't break their routines for attention. Men who don't drown in emotions just because she pulls back. Men who can hear no, give no, and still stay calm. If you've ever noticed a woman become more attentive the moment you stopped overgiving, comment, "I've felt this." Stay with me, because next we're talking about purpose, the quiet force that turns her on far more than charm or compliments ever will. You don't want to miss it. Number 4. The purpose that turns her on. Folks, here's a truth most men ignore. A woman doesn't fall for a man because he gives her attention. She falls for a man because she feels he's moving somewhere in life. Desire happens when she senses direction. Attraction happens when she senses momentum. And long-term pull happens when she senses purpose flowing through everything you do. Let's be real. Most men lose women not because they're unkind or unattractive, but because they make her the center of their world. The moment she becomes your focus, your energy drops, your presence weakens, your mind wanders. You lose that fire she felt in the beginning. Women don't chase a man who orbits them. They chase the man who orbits something bigger. Purpose is not a career. Purpose is not a hobby. Purpose is not a motivational poster. Purpose is the compass in your chest that tells you what matters, what you're building, and who you are becoming. And when a woman sees a man guided by that compass, she feels something deep in her body. A mix of curiosity, admiration, and desire. This is where Stoicism hits the hardest. Marcus Aurelius said, "A man's worth is no greater than his ambitions." That line alone explains feminine attraction better than half the dating advice on the internet. Women don't respond to comfort. They respond to ambition. They don't respond to nice words. They respond to lived direction. They don't respond to a man who wants them more than anything. They respond to the man who wants something beyond them. Because when you're chasing your mission, you're not chasing her. And that's exactly when she starts chasing you. When a man has purpose, his presence changes. He becomes more selective with his time. He stops over-explaining himself. He stops seeking reassurance. He stops panicking when she pulls away. Instead of asking, "Why isn't she texting me back?" he's thinking, "I've got things to do." That mindset alone shifts the entire dynamic. A purposeful man is harder to access, not because he's playing games, but because his life is full, and that fullness is what women find addictive. Here's the psychological piece. A woman wants to feel like she's stepping into a man's world, not dragging him into hers. When she senses that your life has weight, she leans in. When she senses that your mission won't pause for her moods, she respects you. And when she senses that your purpose comes before her validation, she desires you. Women are drawn to emotional gravity. And emotional gravity comes from purpose. A purposeful man moves slower, thinks clearer, and reacts less. He's not easily provoked. He's not easily pressured. He's not easily distracted. She feels that steadiness, and it stirs something primal in her. My friend, if you've ever felt the difference in how women treat you when you're focused versus when you're drifting, you already know this truth. Now, before we move on, a quick reminder. If you're serious about becoming the kind of man women chase, not occasionally, but consistently, consider joining the members area. That's where we go deeper into Stoic masculinity, emotional control, and attraction psychology at a level I can't share publicly. Now stay with me, because next we're talking about the emotional distance that makes her pursue you harder than you've ever experienced. You don't want to miss this. Number 5. Mystery that pulls her toward you. My friend, let's be honest. Most men think mystery means acting cold, withholding affection, or pretending to be busy. That's not mystery. That's insecurity wearing sunglasses. Real mystery is something deeper, something she feels, not something you perform. It's the sense that there are parts of you she hasn't accessed yet, layers she hasn't unlocked, and an inner world she hasn't been invited into. And that inner world becomes magnetic when you live with direction and emotional control. Let me show you how this plays out in real life, because this is where men your age have a natural advantage. Greg, 56, from Arizona, started dating a woman named Karen, 50. Karen was used to men oversharing on the first date, dumping their life stories on the table, hoping vulnerability would make her feel connected. But Greg was different. He listened more than he spoke. He shared pieces of himself slowly, deliberately. Not because he was hiding anything, but because he didn't feel the need to fill the space. After their third date, Karen told her friend, "I can't read him completely, and that makes me think about him all the time." That right there is mystery, not secrecy, not distance, depth. Now compare that to what happened with another man. Harold, 61, from Pennsylvania, met a woman named Linda, 55. Harold wanted connection so badly that he gave Linda everything up front. His past relationships, his fears, his goals, his financial situation, his insecurities, all spilled out in the first 2 weeks. Linda didn't feel closer. She felt overwhelmed. She felt like she already knew the whole story, which meant there was nothing left to discover. And when there's nothing to discover, there's nothing to chase. Mystery is about pacing. Mystery is about emotional self-control. Mystery is about sharing your world one door at a time, not throwing all the doors open at once. Here's the psychological truth behind mystery. A woman is attracted to what feels scarce, selective, and earned. When you reveal yourself slowly, she leans in. When you speak only when you have something meaningful to say, she pays attention. When she senses you're not desperate to be understood, she becomes hungry to understand you. Mystery also works because it creates tension, the sweet tension that makes her think about you when she's alone. Replay your words in her mind and wonder what you're doing when you're quiet. That space is where her desire grows, not when you're in her phone nonstop, not when you're telling her every detail of your day, but when you live your life fully and let her feel like she's discovering you piece by piece. A man with mystery moves with intention. He doesn't rush, he doesn't overshare, he doesn't chase reassurance. He lets silence do some of the talking. He lets presence do the rest. And women feel that difference immediately. If you've ever watched a woman become more curious, more engaged, or more drawn in when you stopped over-explaining yourself, comment, "I've seen this." Stay with me, because next we're talking about emotional distance, the kind that draws her in instead of pushing her away. You don't want to miss it. Number 6, emotional control. She can't resist. Folks, let's get something straight. If there is one thing that separates men women chase from men women tolerate, it is emotional control. Not emotional coldness, not emotional suppression, but emotional mastery. The kind of steadiness she feels before she even realizes she's reacting to it. The kind of calm that makes her body relax around you and her desire rise without her understanding why. Most men don't lose women because they lack looks or status. They lose them because they react too fast, feel too loud, and collapse too easily under pressure. A woman can sense emotional instability instantly. She feels it in your tone, your pacing, your responses, and even the energy behind your silence. And the moment she senses you're controlled by your emotions instead of in command of them, her attraction drops. Stoicism explains this better than modern dating advice ever will. Epictetus said, No man is free who is not master of himself. A woman feels that truth in her body. She doesn't want the man who is ruled by moods. She wants the man who rules himself. Here's the part most men don't understand. Emotional control is not about pretending nothing affects you. It's about choosing your responses instead of leaking them. It's the difference between reacting instantly and letting a moment breathe. When she pulls back, the emotionally weak man panics. He double texts. He overexplains. He tries to win back her attention, but the man with emotional control pauses. He takes a breath. He remembers his purpose. He stays grounded, and she feels that difference. It creates a psychological tension women are naturally drawn to. Because emotional control signals strength, and strength signals safety. A woman can't desire a man she doesn't feel safe around. But safety is not softness, it's stability. Emotional control also shows confidence. When you stay calm, you send the message that you don't fear losing her. You're not desperate. You're not dependent on her reactions to keep you balanced. That makes her lean toward you. Not because she wants to test you, but because she can feel the rare quality of a man who owns himself. This is why emotional control is seductive. It slows your voice, deepens your presence, sharpens your boundaries, and makes your attention feel earned rather than given away. A woman doesn't fantasize about chaos. She fantasizes about stability wrapped in masculine fire. And here's a truth most men your age know in theory, but rarely apply. A calm man with purpose is more attractive than a handsome man with no self-governance. When you stay composed, her emotions rise. When you remain steady, her curiosity spikes. When you refuse to be shaken, her desire starts to chase upward. The less you panic, the more she pursues. If you've ever watched a woman soften the moment you stopped reacting, comment, "I hold steady." Stay with me. Because next we're talking about the distance that makes her crave your presence more than your words. You don't want to miss it. Number 7, the energy that makes you irreplaceable. My friend, here's a truth most men never fully understand. A woman doesn't chase you forever because you're nice or consistent or even physically attractive. She chases you because your energy stands out from every man she has ever met. When a woman feels that difference in her body, she locks onto it. And when she senses that energy fading, she drifts. So what is that energy? It's the combination of direction, calmness, maturity, and masculine gravity that older men can access better than younger men if they stop chasing validation. This energy doesn't come from being loud. It doesn't come from bragging. It doesn't come from trying to impress her. It comes from the quiet, grounded confidence of a man who knows who he is and refuses to negotiate it. Let me paint you a clearer picture. Mark, 58, from Colorado, met a woman named Jenna, 53. She told him on their second date, "Most men my age either complain about life or try too hard to look young." But Mark wasn't performing. He wasn't trying to be impressive. He wasn't trying to win her approval. He was simply present. Calm voice, steady pace, relaxed posture. And because he wasn't trying to sell himself, she felt his value more intensely. After a few weeks, she started making more effort than he did. She texted first. She suggested dates. She leaned into him, literally and emotionally. She wasn't chasing a man. She was chasing a feeling she hadn't felt in years. Now compare that to someone else. Daniel, 55, from Ohio, dated a woman named Rebecca, 50. Daniel was a good man, but he constantly looked to her for reassurance. He asked too many questions. He rushed conversation. He explained himself even when nothing was wrong. He didn't realize it, but he gave off the energy of a man waiting to be chosen. That made him replaceable. Not because he was a bad man, but because his energy lacked gravity. Gravity is what women crave. Not perfection, not youth, not surface-level confidence. Gravity. It's the way you walk into a room without needing attention. The way you listen without rushing to respond. The way you hold eye contact without flinching. The way you speak from certainty instead of insecurity. When you carry yourself this way, a woman feels it in her nervous system. It signals maturity, capability, and masculine presence, the things women find the hardest to replace. And here's the part most men overlook. This energy comes from how you live, not how you act around women. It comes from purpose, self-respect, boundaries, emotional discipline, and the refusal to abandon yourself for approval. When you build your life around those principles, you stop being one of many. You become the one she measures others against. Women don't chase men who blend in. Women chase the man who feels like a rare find, steady but strong, calm but powerful, kind but unmoved by pressure. If you've ever watched a woman lean toward you more when you slowed down instead of speeding up, comment, "I've seen this." Don't go anywhere, because next we're getting into the quiet distance that makes her crave you long after you leave the room. You don't want to miss it. Number 8, the contrast that activates her instinct. Folks, let's be real. A woman doesn't chase you because you're predictable. She doesn't chase you because you're always available. She doesn't chase you because you match her energy step for step. She chases you because she feels a contrast in you that she doesn't feel with other men. Contrast is the spark. Contrast is the tension. Contrast is what flips her instinct from passive to pursuit. And here's the part most men miss. Contrast isn't created by playing games. Contrast is created by being a different kind of man. A man who moves slower while she moves quickly. A man who stays calm while she gets emotional. A man who thinks long-term while she reacts in the moment. A man who isn't seeking reassurance while most men are begging for it. This difference is what wakes up her biological and psychological attraction. It's the shift she feels in her body when she realizes, this man doesn't react like the others. Stoicism captures this perfectly. Seneca said, "The greatest remedy for anger is delay." But that wisdom applies far beyond anger. It applies to attraction. A man who can pause, breathe, and respond intentionally creates contrast everywhere he goes. And that contrast makes a woman feel something she can't fully explain. Because while most men rush, you pace yourself. While most men overshare, you reveal slowly. While most men take things personally, you stay grounded. While most men seek validation, you live from purpose. She feels that split immediately. It tells her she can't manipulate your emotions. She can't shake your confidence. And she can't predict your next move. That uncertainty doesn't scare her. It activates her. Here's why contrast is so powerful psychologically. A woman's attraction grows in the space between what she expects and what you actually do. If she expects neediness and gets self-respect, she becomes curious. If she expects emotional chaos and gets emotional stability, she becomes drawn in. If she expects a man who folds under pressure and instead finds one who stands firm, she feels desire rise before she can stop it. Contrast also creates depth. It suggests you have an inner world she doesn't fully understand yet. A world she wants access to. A world she wants to be chosen to enter. And that sense of earning your inner space makes her invest more. This is why a man with contrast becomes unforgettable. Not because he's trying to be mysterious. Not because he's wearing some tough guy mask, but because he lives with standards, presence, and emotional maturity, qualities that are rare, especially in a dating world filled with men who react, cling, and collapse at the first sign of feminine intensity. Contrast is not a performance. Contrast is the natural result of inner discipline. A woman might enjoy the thrill of unpredictable chaos for a moment, but she chases stability wrapped in masculine strength. She chases a man whose softness is intentional and whose firmness is consistent. She chases the man who doesn't mirror her energy automatically, because that man gives her something she cannot create for herself. If you've ever watched a woman shift from passive to intensely attentive the moment you stayed grounded while she escalated, comment, "I've felt this." Stay tuned, because next, we're talking about the emotional consistency that makes her chase you long after she thinks she figured you out. You don't want to miss this. Number 9, masculine distance that hooks her mind. My friend, here's something most men misunderstand completely. When women talk about wanting a strong man, they're not talking about muscles. They're talking about distance, not coldness, not withdrawal, masculine distance. The kind of steady, grounded space that makes her mind lean toward you instead of away from you. Most men destroy attraction because they try to close the distance too fast. They text constantly. They chase every shift in her mood. They fill silence with explanations. They try to prove they're interested before she even has time to feel anything. But folks, let's be honest, that only smothers desire. Women don't want a man who is emotionally glued to them. They want a man who has a life and lets her approach it at her own pace. Here's how real masculine distance works in the real world. Brian, 53, from Texas, started dating a woman named Laura, 50. Laura was used to men who overcommunicated, men who panicked when she didn't reply instantly, men who needed reassurance every few days. But Brian was different. When he didn't hear from her, he didn't chase. He kept living. His workouts, his projects, his friends. When she texted him after 2 days of silence saying, "Hey stranger," he replied with calm warmth, not neediness. That steadiness hooked her, not because he ignored her, but because he didn't collapse the space between them. Now look at the opposite situation. Sam, 59, from Florida, met a woman named Danielle, 52. From day one, he overcrowded the connection. If she paused, he filled the void. If she pulled back, he leaned in twice as hard. He updated her on his day. He apologized too much. He always tried to match her energy before she even finished feeling it. Danielle didn't feel seen. She felt suffocated. And the more she stepped back, the more he tried to chase. Attraction died exactly where his urgency began. Masculine distance is not about retreating. It's about not rushing to erase space. Women need space to feel, space to think, space to desire, space to imagine you. When you take that space away, you take away the part of the experience that makes her want more. Here's the psychological truth. Desire lives in the unknown. The known gives comfort. The unknown creates curiosity. Men who give a woman too much emotional access too early remove the mystery that fuels pursuit. But when you remain steady, calm, and focused on your life, you create a gap her mind naturally moves toward. She wonders where you are. She thinks about what you're doing. She replays conversations. She anticipates the next interaction. Masculine distance is powerful because it signals inner strength. You're not rushed. You're not desperate. You're not controlled by her responses. You can enjoy her without depending on her. And that independence is what hooks her mind. Women chase the man who is close enough to feel, but far enough to admire. If you've ever noticed a woman become more attentive the moment you stopped overgiving, comment, "I've felt this shift." Don't go anywhere, because next we're getting into the final piece: how to become the man she chases long-term, not just in the early stages. You don't want to miss what comes next. Number 10. Becoming the man she can't walk away from. My friend, this is where everything comes together. Scarcity, presence, boundaries, purpose, emotional control, contrast, and masculine distance all build toward one thing: becoming the kind of man a woman simply cannot replace. Not because you cling to her, not because you impress her, but because of who you are at your core. Let's be real. Women don't stay for comfort. They stay for gravity. They stay for the man whose life has weight, whose presence has impact, and whose energy makes them feel something rare. And that kind of man is not created through tricks, lines, or psychology hacks. He is built through discipline, direction, and a quiet confidence that comes from living on your terms. Becoming the man she can't walk away from starts with one thing: self-respect. A man who values himself sets the tone without raising his voice. He doesn't beg, bargain, or bend to keep someone in his life. He's not afraid of loss because he trusts his ability to rebuild and attract again. That mindset alone makes him stand out in a world full of men who chase anything that gives them attention. But self-respect isn't enough. A man who pulls women long-term also has emotional stability. He doesn't get rattled by distance, attitude, or unpredictability. He responds instead of reacts. He thinks instead of panics. He listens without trying to fix everything, and speaks without needing to dominate the room. Confidence is loud for insecure men. For grounded men, confidence is silent, and women feel it instantly. Another piece most men overlook is direction. A man with direction doesn't drift. He doesn't wait for life to happen to him. His goals shape his days. His mission shapes his mindset. His purpose shapes his identity. And when a woman steps into the life of a man with direction, she feels like she's stepping into movement, not stagnation. That movement alone creates attraction that doesn't fade after the honeymoon stage. But here's something deeper. A man she can't walk away from knows how to create emotional experiences. Not drama, not chaos, experiences. A mix of calmness, curiosity, certainty, and masculine warmth that makes her feel safe and desired at the same time. He's not unpredictable. He's unreadable. There is a difference. Unpredictable men cause anxiety. Unreadable men create intrigue. Women don't leave a man who fascinates them. The final piece is independence. A man who stands strong alone doesn't trap women. He attracts them. Because he chooses them, he doesn't need them. And when a woman feels chosen without feeling necessary, her desire deepens. She wants to stay because she wants to, not because you're chasing her or convincing her. Everything you've learned up to this point leads to this truth. A woman can walk away from attention. She can walk away from effort. She can walk away from charm, but she will not walk away from masculine foundation. Become the man who stands firm, moves with purpose, guards his peace, and leads his own life. When you do that, she won't want distance. She'll want closeness. She won't question your value. She'll feel it. She won't chase other men. She'll chase you. And that's how you become the man she simply cannot walk away from. Here's the truth, my friend. Everything we covered today leads to one thing: becoming a man who moves with purpose, calm strength, emotional control, and the kind of presence a woman feels long after you leave the room. When you build yourself this way, you don't chase, you don't beg, you don't compete, you attract, and women respond to that energy every single time. If you want to go deeper and get the tools to apply this in your daily life, join the members area. That's where we break down Stoic masculinity and dark psychology at a level I can't share publicly. And if you haven't yet, make sure you subscribe to the channel so you never miss a new video. Thanks for watching, my friend. Take care of yourself, and I'll see you tomorrow.